all game. We are motivated. We are dedicated. Come on now. Come on now. We will win. We are the best on the field. And we hit the field light, all day light, all night light, on the blue light, offense light, defense light, his squad light, house call light, and the sound light, and the sound light, and the sound light.
Welcome to the Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short. Today is Friday, December 16th, 2016, and we're changing it up a bit. It's been a while since we've been on the show. We are now moving the show from Wednesdays to Fridays. I tweeted that out, so most of you might have seen it. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at Short Sports Show if you haven't already. We're going ahead and changing it. Got a new work schedule. You know, I had, after doing the internship, coaching, I had to face reality again and go back to work. So because of that, I had to switch it up and get a new job and all that fun stuff, right? Life. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. We got a lot to talk about. A lot of college football things have happened since we've been on the last time we've been on air. Lane Kiffin is now the head football coach at Florida Atlantic University, FAU, the Owls. He's now the head coach over there. We're going to talk about that, as well as we got to face the facts. Dak Prescott has been struggling. He has been struggling, but the Cowboys are going to be just fine. And no, Romo doesn't need to come in. We're going to squash this. We've been trying to squash this whole season since Dak has shown what he is, his potential and everything that he has shown so far. We've been trying to squash all this beef about Tony Romo coming back as starting quarterback. It's not happening. Dak is going to be just fine. You know, it's okay, guys. It's okay. As well as the Minnesota football team is apparently going to boycott their bowl game. We'll talk about that in just a minute. As well as how can we fix the NFL Pro Bowl? What went wrong with the Pro Bowl? It used to be one of the best professional sports all-star games, and it's now one of the worst. It's a laughingstock. Of course, before we do that, goals for the show, ladies and gentlemen. We are so close. We're also kind of running out of time here at the end of 2016. We only got just a few days left of 2016, which, you know, it's honestly, I'm happy that 2016 is almost over. Of course, we all like to talk about how our year went, the good, the bad, and some of the ugly. And for sports, 2016 has been one of the worst years. And maybe that's just me, you know, noticing it, because as I get older, I start to know more people, recognize more sport, you know, recognize more things. And it's just been a really bad year in sports. You know, we've lost a lot, and sadly, yesterday we lost one of the great all-time on-air personalities for TV, and that's Craig Sager. Sadly, passed away yesterday. I did not want to believe it. Craig Sager was one of the reasons I liked watching basketball. I loved his interviews. Obviously, he was known for his colorful suits. And his interaction with Greg Popovich, the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, was always fun to watch. And their relationship together, how they interacted, was so fun to watch. And he was an inspiration for myself as a broadcaster, as well as hundreds of thousands of other people who just took his positivity and used it towards their life. So obviously, 2016 has just been rough. It's been rough, but there's also been some good in 2016. We can't all get knocked out about it. So again, our goals for YouTube is to get subscribers over 1,500. We're almost there. Let's make it happen. But first, let's go ahead and talk some InnerGrind. Today's show is sponsored by InnerGrind. Based out of Houston, Texas, let former Texas State linebacker Michael Rakpo help you reach your fitness and nutrition goals. With personal training classes that start at $40 a session, why not be a part of this rising program? Now, whether your goals are to lose weight, gain muscle mass, find the right off-season program, or even for you ladies out there to get that booty blast, you can do it all with InnerGrind. Not a Houston area, not a problem. InnerGrind has a program that is personalized just for you. InnerGrind has everything you need to meet your personal and healthy goals. NFL linebackers like Titans Brian Orakpo, Chiefs Derek Johnson, Buccaneers running back Charles Sims and San Diego Chargers cornerback Craig Mager, along with many other young athletes, have already begun. Find your personalized workout and nutrition plan at InnerGrind.com and call 832-475-2829. That's InnerGrind.com, 832-475-2829. Unleash your inner grind. I can tell I've already been a little bit rusty on this show. It's been a little over a week and a couple days since I've had the show, and I still can't talk, Still can't talk. But, of course, one of the biggest news that happened over this past week in college football was, of course, Florida Atlantic hiring Alabama offensive coordinator Lane Kiffin. He is the head coach of FAU, which is huge for the program. It really is. But it's kind of, I don't want to say shocking, because I mean no disrespect to FAU's program whatsoever. They have a beautiful campus, by the way. I mean, almost every school in Florida obviously has a beautiful campus. But and their football facilities really aren't that bad. For people that haven't checked out FAU, you really should go check it out. It's a pretty nice program. It was a little shocking to see Lane Kiffin. Really, I think we all kind of know he turned down Houston. Houston offered them the head coaching job. But Houston was really, I thought Lane Kiffin was going to be the favorite. Him or Les Miles would be the favorite. Take over at Houston. But I think what scared a lot, and I tweeted this out when Houston announced hiring Major Applewhite, and then this happened. Houston was very clear they did not want to be picked on. They did not want to have a coach come in here like they have been. Art Briles, Kevin Sumlin, now Tom Herman, where they're here for a couple years. They get their name out there. Houston's on a good streak, and then a big school or a school in a bigger conference takes them away, and they just come, somewhat of a minor league system. You develop the coach, and then, hey, majors come and pick them up. And so they made it in their contract where they were going to have a huge buyout, a tremendous buyout, so that whoever the next coach would have been, it would have been just ridiculous. And so that scared a lot of coaches. I think that's what scared Les Miles. I think it scared Lane Kiffin for sure, knowing that he's still a young guy, he's a young head coach, and said, you know what? I'm thinking about going to Florida anyways, because he was also in the running for the USF job in South Florida. And, hey, FAU offered, and he took it. Which, it's great for FAU, and I like it. And Kiffin, he's going to remain the offensive coordinator at Alabama throughout the college football playoffs, whether it's just the one game against Washington or they go on to the national championship. And then he will switch over to FAU. And this has to be a really tough time for coaches, especially the head coach program, and a program that you're trying to really build at FAU, where how do you really recruit when you're staying with Alabama? He's getting his staff somewhat together, but also still focusing on, hey, trying to win another national championship, and you're trying to get all this. But he did have some help. Just one day onto the job, Kiffin signed East Mississippi Community College quarterback DeAndre Johnson, who was a former ESPN 300 standout. He originally signed with Florida State, but then he was dismissed from the school after he was caught on video punching a woman at a bar. Now, FAU said that Johnson would work with the Mentors for Violence Prevention program to, quote, educate, inspire, and empower others to prevent, interrupt, and respond to violence and abuse, end quote. So he's going through his steps that he needs to. So Lane Kiffin gets a potentially pretty good quarterback. And if East Mississippi Community College reminds you, if anything, EMCC, well, that was the school that was featured on Last Chance U, the Netflix series that was very popular. He didn't play in his first year, though. He didn't play during the time that it was recorded. But he did play this past season, and he started, and he threw for 2,600 yards, 26 touchdowns, while adding another 800 yards on the ground and another 5 touchdowns. So he had a pretty good season. Again, it's a community college, but East Mississippi has produced, as we all saw, multiple Division I athletes. And he's set to enroll at FAU in January and would have 3 years of eligibility remaining. So, building a program and you get your quarterback, well, maybe things start rolling for FAU. Now, of course, FAU is not going to be a college football playoff contender anytime soon, but it's going to be interesting to see what Lane Kiffin can do. And, you know, him being at a smaller school, look at all the schools that he was at. He was at Tennessee, at USC, and at Alabama. He's been at big-time programs. Resources were unlimited. Now he's at FAU where resources will be limited, and we'll see what he can do in a small school. But obviously it's in Florida, big market, big area, big recruits. It's gonna be interesting. I like this decision by Lane Kiffin. I don't hate on him for doing this. This is a really good decision for him. Some other coaching changes that happened. LSU announced Wednesday that Ed Orgeron has hired Pittsburgh offensive coordinator Matt Canada 2 days after, of course, Lane Kiffin accepted that position as a head coach at FAU. Now, Canada, here's some things that people don't really know who he was. Now, he was the only one, of the 5 finalists for this season's Broyles Award, which is the annual honor that goes to the college football's top assistant coach who worked on the offensive side. He was the only one. Out of the 5 finalists, he was the only offensive coach. Now, obviously, we all know LSU ranked 60th nationally in total offense, 67th in total in points per game. And that's well behind what Pitt did. Now, again, it's the SEC. People are going to bring that up. But if you look at the numbers, LSU in yards, total yards per game, 425 yards. At Pitt, it was 447. Points per game, nearly double. At LSU, it was 28.3. I was going to say at Canada. At Pitt, it was 42 points per game. And Pitt, if you guys remember, they ended their season scoring 76 points against Syracuse. And if you're still not sold that this is a really good hire, Pitt also beat Big Ten champion Penn State and Clemson. 2 top programs and one program that is in the college football playoffs and one that nearly got into the college football playoffs. So it's not bad. It's a really good hire. I like this. Ed Orgeron stated his goal was to transform the run-heavy scheme that LSU has had since under Les Miles into a spread-based scheme that utilizes a dual-threat quarterback. So it's a really good hire. It's a really good hire for LSU. And honestly, it might be better than Lane Kiffin as the offensive coordinator. Saved you a lot more money, too. The other coaching change that happened was Oregon. They hired away Colorado's Jim Leavitt, and he will make him the highest-paid defensive coordinator in the Pac-12. Now, Leavitt, he has spent the past 2 seasons turning the Buffalo's defense around, signing a 4-year deal with the Ducks. Now, when Leavitt arrived at Colorado in 2015, no one probably even knew he was there or knew when he got there because the Buffaloes were bad, right? Colorado, this is their first good year since probably the 90s or early 2000s when they were in the Big 12 and had some up and down years. The Buffaloes had the 120th defense, giving up 6.6 yards per play in 2015. This season, jumped that around to number 8th. 8th overall defense, allowing 4.7 yards per play. And the Buffs, they're tied with Michigan and Ohio State for the national lead in pass defense, allowing 5.4 yards per attempt. It's not bad. That's really good company. That's really good company to change a program like that, entire defense, within a year. Now, both Willie Taggart, who's now the head coach at Oregon, and Jim Leavitt are former head coaches at the University of South Florida. As we all know, Taggart, that was his job for the past 4 years before going to Oregon. Now, Leavitt, he coached the Bulls from 97 to 09. But then he got into some trouble where he was fired in 2010 after a school investigation concluded Leavitt had an altercation with a player. Leavitt denied any wrongdoing and later settled with USF for $2.75 million. So they reunite in a way. And the thing is that concerns me is that a lot of people don't understand that Oregon's defense has been bad. It's been bad for several years. Now, of course, there were, 2 first-round draft picks in Armstead and DeForest Buckner in the recent years, but this defense was bad, and especially last season, actually the past 2 years, it's just been terrible. Bad. Garbage. Really hard to watch Oregon play because just how bad. And, of course, these guys were young, so that's an excuse that gets thrown out there a lot. But and what Jim Leavitt has done with that defense at Colorado changed that very quickly. I don't know if you can do that within just 1 year with Oregon. It might be a while. I don't really understand this position. You have a great coaching staff at Colorado. You finally have built that program. McIntyre he just won the Coach of the Year, the head coach at Colorado, just won Coach of the Year, AP Coach of the Year, and you've got a great system. You got everything's going for you now. You've got a ton of recruits. Probably the best recruiting class they're ever going to have is going to be this year in 2017. So why leave for a job that's a very lateral move, maybe even a step down now, just because Oregon is kind of in a rut. And I'm not saying Colorado has made the huge jump, but they made a significant jump. And Oregon, we talked about this either last week or the show before that Oregon is not in the best situation right now. So I'm a little shocked by this move. I don't know. I don't know. I think Colorado was in a really good spot. I think they're going to continue to be and ride this momentum and keep building this program even higher. Leavitt might have made a mistake here. So another thing, the Big 12, they might have made a mistake as well. We'll see. Now, of course, they have said, we've got the Big 12 championship. It's happening. 2017, it returns. Back in Jerry's World at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, on December 2nd of 2017. It's back. The Big 12 championship, the official Big 12 championship. Now, for the past 2 years, Bedlam has decided the Big 12 title. Actually, for the last 6 years, including the past 2 seasons, that has decided who's going to win the Big 12 championship. So they said, you know what? We got to move this Oklahoma State game. We got to move it. So they moved it from the final weekend to November 4th, a little bit earlier. And the thing is, they really wanted to stay away when they were constructing this schedule. They really wanted to stay away from any last week matchups that could potentially rematch. Because remember, there is no divisions here. They said no to divisions. So while the coaches wanted the divisions, north, south, east, west, whichever way you wanted to do it, Big 12 ultimately, Bob Owsley said no divisions, just conference championship. So we will have a rematch no matter what. Now, the thing is, the last week, if you look at it, here's what's the league settled for in the final week of the regular season. You have Iowa, Kansas State. Okay, that's not going to be the Big 12 championship. Kansas at Oklahoma State. Definitely not just because of Kansas. Texas Tech at Texas. Well, I know there's going to be a lot of hype about Texas once again, but I do not see it for Tech, and we'll get to them in just a minute. You'll see why. Baylor at TCU. Now, if you would have done this a couple years ago, yeah, this would have potentially been a back-to-back rematch, a back-to-back week rematch. But the thing is, and it looks like the two favorites that are going to be that's going to happen is West Virginia at Oklahoma. That is the final week of the regular season for the Big 12. West Virginia at Oklahoma. Both of these teams are going to be highly projected for the Big 12 championship. Oklahoma obviously returning Baker Mayfield and several other players, and Oklahoma just being Oklahoma. West Virginia, on the other hand, they didn't have too bad of a season and returning a lot next year. So that could be an issue. And we could potentially have Oklahoma or West Virginia at Oklahoma. Then the following week, we could have the same matchup, just this time at the AT&T Stadium, in Cowboy Stadium, Jerry's World, whatever you want to call it, the following week. That might be an issue. They really could have gone, Kansas at Oklahoma and maybe Iowa State at West Virginia, or Kansas State at Oklahoma. I don't know. There's another way to separate this out, but they still put two powers against each other, and we might see. So, but other than just that, the final week of the Big 12, we also have Tom Herman. He'll make his Big 12 debut on September 30th when the Longhorns travel to Iowa State. That'll be a pretty good matchup. Newly hired Baylor coach Matt Rule gets pretty, good schedule, I guess. Baylor opens their conference schedule with a home game against the defending league champion Oklahoma on September 23rd. Now, the Bears, they face, of course, a weak schedule, non-conference. They have Liberty, UTSA, maybe. UTSA is better, actually be rebuilding. And Duke, we'll have to wait to see what Duke team we get then. Before taking on the big test. Now, of course, for Tom Herman, back to him at Iowa State and then against Kansas State before making his Red River rivalry debut. So at Iowa State, home against Kansas State, and then Oklahoma. Be pretty good. Now, the reason I said for Tech, the reason it's going to hurt them, that they've really Cliff Kingsbury. Now, of course, they put this schedule out way in advance when they do these non-conference schedules, but Cliff Kingsbury was somewhat on the hot seat this year, and next year really will be because there has been no improvement. Yes, you've had the number one offense for multiple years, but when you're still winning just 4 or 5 games, stats just become nothing then. And they've had a terrible defense since he's arrived, and actually for the past decade, they've had a terrible defense. So they have a very tough schedule. Check this out. The Red Raiders for 2017 probably have killed their season before it even starts. They take on FCS powerhouse Eastern Washington, which Eastern Washington has knocked down Washington before. They've knocked down Oregon. They've played some pretty tough teams, and Eastern Washington is no slack of a team. Then they have Arizona State, which, yes, struggled this past season, but, I mean, they've been pretty solid the past several years. Then a road game at Houston. That'll be something. Then they take on Oklahoma State the following week right after that. They get no weeks off during the league play. Once Big 12 starts, they have no bye weeks. Their bye weeks are all front-loaded. So they have Oklahoma State. Then they still have to play road games at West Virginia, at Oklahoma, and at Texas. You could potentially be looking, we might be looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losses already. Your best hope is 6-6 at this point. And I get it's super early. We haven't even started the bowl games yet, depending on when you're listening to this, as this show's recorded. Bowl games have not started yet. But I'm just saying it's a very tough schedule for Texas Tech, and they might have hurt themselves in this situation, scheduling this. Of course, the schedules are made out 5 years in advance majority of the time. But that's a tough schedule. So one of the crazier things that's happened so far in college football this past week, and really this past day, Minnesota football players announced Thursday night that they are boycotting their bowl game. In the wake of suspensions this week, 10 teammates. I can't speak. The school did not specify the reasons for the suspension in Tuesday's announcement, but Ray Buford, Sr., the father of defensive back Ray Buford Jr., one of the suspended players, said Wednesday the suspensions resulted from a Title IX investigation, which that's been going around, conducted by the university into an alleged sexual assault, which was separate from a police investigation into the alleged assault in the early hours of September 2nd. Now, the players had a player meeting only, then told the coaches, this is what we're going to do. They said, quote, the boycott will remain effective until due process is followed and suspensions for all 10 players have been lifted. Here's the thing. The coaches apparently are behind them. The athletic director is behind them. But this throws, if you're standing for a cause, what really happened, there's so much more information that we all have to gather here. My first reaction is, these guys are just going to boycott a bowl game like they run the show, like they can just say, we're not going to do this, And so I've said, well, what's happening here? Why is it, team violations? What's the deal here? When I first saw Title IX investigation, I'm thinking, they're really defending teammates through this? Now, again, we've just got somewhat through with Baylor, seeing how some of those players are. But we've also seen where sometimes there are some women who have made up lies about being raped by athletes and football players to get money, to get whatever. So maybe that's why they're fighting for their players, saying, hey, these guys really didn't do anything. They're caught up in something. Because I really can't see these players really saying, we're going to boycott a game because 10 of our players are suspended for actually maybe, potentially for a sexual assault. If you're standing up for that, then there's some issues bigger with this program, that there has to be some bigger investigations going on here. So it's really weird to see this. But with the coaches and the athletic director of Minnesota supporting the players in this boycott, do you think there's something more going on? Now, if Minnesota does follow through with a boycott, lots of things that are going to happen here. Now, the bowl game is the National Funding Holiday Bowl, right? Northern Illinois would be the replacement team. There's no votes up to this. This is based on the Huskies' APR, the Academic Progress Rate. And their ranking is the highest out of the 5 and 7 teams, that are left for a bowl game. So they would get in. But the NCAA's Football Oversight Committee would have to approve this in the first place for them replacing Minnesota if the Gophers decide not to play. Now the bowl game is against Washington State on December 27th. Time is somewhat ticking here. Washington State's preparing for Minnesota, and now they're like, okay, what's happening here? Minnesota's not preparing for anybody right now. And NIU is like, well, we just, we kind of, our kids have graduated last week. Some of them are gone home, different states. They're gone. And now we got to get them back on the campus and say, hey, we got a game to prepare for if you guys want to play. Now, the Huskies said, quote, they would likely play, end quote, in the game, but a decision could be reached within the next 48 hours. So we can hear something, probably with my luck, right after the show ends and after this video is uploaded. We will find out if Minnesota ends up following through with a boycott, and if so, if the Huskies get in. So that's just how it goes sometimes. Now, there's other issues with this. Other challenge would be having enough practices, fair practices, and preparation time for NIU to prepare for Washington State. Now, sources said moving the Holiday Bowl is out of the question. They're not moving it a couple days back to allow practices and things like that because Washington State's already made travel plans. Fans have made travel plans. The local accommodation, television commercials and commitments, and all these other things have already been factored in, and they're not moving. So either we could potentially have Minnesota follow through and play Washington State on December 7th, or 27th, excuse me, or NIU takes over, and, we can have that, or we might not even have this bowl game. I think that's the last thing that would happen. I think something would happen where, okay, if NIU can't do it, maybe they move up to a next school and try to do it. Someone would end up taking their spot, I would think. I don't see the bowl game completely getting canceled. Washington State would be furious with that, and you've got, again, a lot of money goes into these bowl games, so I highly doubt we're going to see a canceled bowl game. But this is a lot that's happening in a very quick time. It's December 16th right now. It's going to be something interesting to watch. Hopefully this all gets resolved. Minnesota still plays. We still got to figure out what's happening here with the suspensions and why they're being suspended. It's weird. It's a very weird situation that I don't remember ever seeing this happen. So that's it for college football news. We are going to do our bowl I keep saying projections. I've done that for the past 2 weeks now. We're doing our predictions, but the way we're doing them is we're not going to do all 64 games there are, 32 bowl games, whatever they might be. We are just doing the ones leading up to next week's show. So This is from the best of Saturday through Thursday. Again, just 5 bowl games, the best of the games, until next Thursday. And then Friday when we have our show, we can do that then. So first game up is tomorrow, New Mexico versus UTSA at 1 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. New Mexico is a 7.5-point favorite. It's a New Mexico Bowl, by the way, as well. I'm actually going to take UTSA on this. Their first bowl game in program history, just 6 years their program has been alive in football. So tremendous accomplishment by UTSA, our neighbors here from San Marcos, which don't let me get into that. So, I mean, New Mexico is going to be pretty good. Obviously, they got the home field advantage. But UTSA, I feel like a lot of the alumni is going to travel for their first bowl game. I'm taking UTSA to win this game. I'm going to pick the Roadrunners. Later, just an hour and a half later, Houston takes on San Diego State in the Las Vegas Bowl. 2:30 p.m. Central Time on ABC. Houston is a 4-point favorite. Major Applewhite, I mean, they hired from inside, so it's not like they're going to need any, with the coaching staff, any changes. It's the same thing. There's not much is changing. No excuses for Houston in this game. There's no, our head coach left us and we got, it was tough to win this game. No. You've got the same system. You got the same coaches, basically. There are a few that are gone. I'm not going to lie. There's a few that are gone. But Houston, it's no excuses. So I really, really cannot wait to watch this game. San Diego State's going to put up one heck of a performance. I've been a huge fan of Donnell Pumphrey, the running back out of San Diego State. He is, I believe, just either 93 yards or 103 yards shy from breaking the NCAA rushing record, career rushing record. Now, Houston, the thing is, their defense is, their rush defense only gives up about 98-point-something yards per game. So it's going to be a good matchup with a run-heavy team in San Diego State. I mean, they spread the ball evenly as well, but giving it to Donnell, his last game, going against a Houston, pretty good rush defense. Ed Oliver is going to, of course, do his thing. He's an absolute beast. I think he is a legitimate case to be the first, obviously it won't happen, but he has the legitimate case, I believe, more than anybody else that we've ever seen in college football history, of being where he could be the first ever freshman to just straight up one-and-done college football and go straight to the NFL. He has the body. He obviously doesn't have mind maturity. I'm not saying he's immature, but he's 17, 18 years old. But if you haven't seen Ed Oliver yet, this guy is a freak. He's ridiculous. He's huge. He get legitimate, and I'm saying that over Fournette. Everybody wants to talk about Fournette and how great he was his freshman year, and he could go straight to the NFL. I had questions about him, but Ed Oliver, I don't have any question. I have no doubt whatsoever he can go in and be a rotational player next year for an NFL team. Absolutely, no doubt whatsoever. We're gonna do a special thing next week. Next week on the show, we're gonna do a little story on this because Ed Oliver is a freak, and let's see if he shows up on Saturday. But I am gonna go ahead and pick Houston here. I would like to see San Diego State win, but I'm taking Houston. Tuesday night, we have Memphis taking on Western Kentucky. 6 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. Western Kentucky is a 4.5-point favorite. I'm taking Memphis, though. I like the Tigers here rolling high. And the Boca Raton Bowl. Wednesday, the next day, we have BYU taking on Wyoming at 8 p.m. Central Time. BYU, 9-point favorite in the Poinsettia Bowl on Wednesday. I am actually taking Wyoming. I like Wyoming. I like the Cowboys. I'm going with Wyoming Cowboys. They've done a lot. I like their head coach a lot. He was also, I believe, Craig Dole. I believe that's his name, Craig Dole, Coach Dole. What he did at North Dakota State, building that program. And he had a rough year last year as his first year head coach at Wyoming. And this year he turned it all around. He's got this program going. And I absolutely love Wyoming. So I'm taking Wyoming. I'm taking the Cowboys here. And our last game, Idaho versus Colorado State in the famous Potato Bowl. That's literally what it's called, the Idaho famous Potato Bowl. On Thursday, Colorado State's a 13.5-point favorite. Talk about Idaho. Check this out. So if you guys don't know what Idaho's going through. For the past several years, they have been a laughingstock in college football. They're terrible. They were terrible, right? Last year, I think they won 1 or 2 games. And the football stadium they play in, it's not even a football stadium. It's a freaking basketball stadium. It's not a basketball stadium, but it looks like it. It only holds, I believe, 18,000 fans, which is, that's just like the student section at Alabama. I mean, and I think they rarely sell out. Then before this season, they announced they're going back down to FCS, right? The FBS, they were terrible. Before they were in the FBS, they were in the FCS, and they were actually a powerhouse in the FCS, right? They were dominating teams, and they made the move up. Just didn't translate. And this year, I believe this is their final year in FBS competition, they go 8-3. They go 8-3 and make it to a bowl game. It's crazy. It's a crazy story. So I would like Idaho to win this game, but I think Colorado State is just a much better team, so I'm taking Colorado State. And plus, Michael Rakpo, of course, sponsor of InnerGrind and sponsor of the show. He also went to Colorado State first, so me picking against him, it's probably not a good, smart decision. So I'm taking Colorado State to win the game. That is 6 p.m. Central Time on ESPN on Thursday night. That'll be a good game. So that's it for college football. Let's make the move over to NFL. Of course, real quick, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, go do it right now. Go to youtube.com/The Short Sports Show and subscribe there. We get some awesome videos, and you get to see this pretty face. No, but we're trying to get to 1,500 subscribers. 300 away. We're still 300 away on YouTube, and there's only a few days left. I believe in a Christmas miracle. We can make it happen. I have hope. I have faith. I believe that we can get 1,500 subscribers. So let's go over to YouTube. Go ahead and check it out. Follow me on Twitter at Short Sports Show, and check out InnerGrind. Let us go on to the NFL. Today's show is sponsored by InnerGrind. Based out of Houston, Texas, let former Texas State linebacker Michael Rakpo help you reach your fitness and nutrition goals. With personal training classes that start at $40 a session, why not be a part of this rising program? And whether your goals are to lose weight, gain muscle mass, find the right off-season program, or even for you ladies out there to get that booty blast, you can do it all with InnerGrind. Not in the Houston area, not a problem. InnerGrind has a program that is personalized just for you. InnerGrind has everything you need to meet your personal and healthy goals. NFL linebackers like Titans Brian Orakpo, Chiefs Derek Johnson, Buccaneers running back Charles Sims, and San Diego Chargers cornerback Craig Mager, along with many other young athletes, have already begun. Find your personalized workout and nutrition plan at InnerGrind.com and call 832-475-2829. That's InnerGrind.com, 832-475-2829. Unleash your inner grind. So, the Chargers, it looks like they are going to move to L.A. Well, maybe. Now, NFL owners unanimously approved the the final tenant lease contract between the Chargers and the Los Angeles Rams on Wednesday. Now, the contract had been agreed in principle in January when they said the Chargers, could potentially move and be partners with the Rams, share the stadium, blah, blah, blah. Now, the owners also unanimously approved the Chargers using a debt waiver to finance a portion of the $650 million relocation fee. So it's like, okay, well, they're basically in support that the Chargers would then become the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, I've been a supporter of that. I've been a supporter of the Chargers moving to L.A. for a while. I actually wanted them more than the Rams going because not that I dislike San Diego at all. I've been in San Diego for like an hour and a half. I was at the airport. I don't think that really counts, but I love San Diego. I've seen many great things about it. I have nothing against San Diego, except for the fact that, and I understand the Chargers have been struggling for the past several years, so it's hard to sell out a stadium. But at the same time, when your home games are essentially away games, when there are more orange jerseys when the Broncos arrive, and when there are more any team that comes out there, and there's more jerseys and apparel that other fans are wearing than yours, and you still can't sell out your stadium, what's the point of staying? Why fight to stay? And I get if you're struggling, it's all that. But at this time, if San Diego was serious about keeping, if the fans of San Diego were serious about keeping the Chargers, you show up and support. And it's not like tickets are that expensive because I've looked at some of those ticket prices. There's some cheap tickets, some good spots too. And I'm not talking about all the way at the tippity top. I'm talking about there's some good seats. Not that expensive. Yet I continue to see more away fans than home fans. So once I continue to see that, I'm like, why? Why stay? Why stay? Why not move to Los Angeles and make the move to become the LA Chargers? And, you know, obviously now Spanos family, questionable at some times in some of their decision-making for the football program. But they have seriously tried to get a stadium in San Diego for several years and have failed to get one done because of the city. So it's time. San Diego needs to make the move. If not, it's time to go. Now I know Chargers fans, it's split right down the middle. Some are like, they'll agree with that and say, yeah, Spanos family has tried, and some will say Spanos family hasn't done enough. It's one or the other. You're not really in between. Now the Chargers have until January 15th to exercise the team's option on whether or not to move to Los Angeles. Goodell has said he's talked to San Diego Mayor Kevin Falcone on Tuesday, telling him that he would like to help further the city's stadium effort to keep the Chargers. But Goodell has also told the mayor that the league has already added an additional $100 million, from $200 million to $300 million, to help loan funding of the San Diego's new stadium. Some new renovations, something, because Qualcomm Stadium, just like the Oakland Coliseum, is garbage. It's bad. It's not up to the level where it needs to be. And I'm not talking it's got to be the fanciest stadium like what we've seen with the Falcons and the Vikings. Those are all nice. And eventually when stadiums get, rebuilt or a new stadium comes in, they're going to start looking like that, which I'm completely with. I love those stadiums. But at some point, this had to be changed. I mean, you can read the stories, you could see the pictures, you could see the videos, or maybe you've already experienced it live being at the Oakland Coliseum, being at the Qualcomm Stadium, and you have seen what the stadium is actually like. And you would see that, well, it's just not up to par where it needs to be. Goodell said, quote, "We have not made great progress in Oakland and in San Diego. There's not a stadium proposal on the table that we think addresses the long-term issues of that club that's in those communities. So we need to continue to work at it." And asked about the possibility of the saturated market with the Chargers potentially joining the Rams in Los Angeles, Goodell said he believes the city is big enough to handle two teams. I believe so, too. I believe the Rams and Chargers would be fine. I like the move. And plus, it's kind of tough when you got San Diego, well, depending on where camera's going to flip it. But you have San Diego at the bottom, and you have Los Angeles there, and I don't know. But the thing is, what also hurts the Chargers is just not being that good. They've struggled. They're the worst team in the NFL right now. They also have, I talked about injuries earlier on the show. They have 15 players on IR, 15 starters on IR. I'm just throwing it out there. So, as a Chargers fan, I'm just saying. So, yes, I would like the Chargers to move to Los Angeles. I would like that move. Obviously, Chargers fans are going to weigh in here, which I want you to. I want you to let me know why you believe they should stay in San Diego, whose fault it is, of why they're, in this situation. It's equally, I'll say this, it's equally both the Spanos family and the city of San Diego, both of their faults. Big egos, money gets in the way. But if they're serious about staying, city of San Diego's got to do something to step up. If the NFL has added an additional $100 million, $300 million total to help fund a new stadium in San Diego, and the city's still not making an effort to change and add something here and help, there's no point in staying. There's no point in staying. It's time to leave. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what it's all about. Who's got the cojones here to make something happen? Now, we're not getting that close to the Pro Bowl, but the NFL, if you guys have been paying attention to NFL's YouTube channel, or subscribe to that too. You should subscribe to mine. You have seen the NFL has been posting a ton of flashback videos of like 07, 06, the fun stuff of the Pro Bowl, right? It's from anywhere from the fastest competition, the 40 time with several players back in 07. You've had the bench press, which Larry Allen rep 225 43 freaking times. 43 times on the bench press. 225 pounds. So, and it's a lot of fun. And if you don't get any enjoyment out of watching that, don't call yourself a football fan. You are just not cool. You're not fun. You're just a weird person if you don't think that was fun to watch back in the day. And especially now, those were the fun days of the Pro Bowl, right? And this might turn into a rant, so I'm sorry about that. Those were exciting times for both fans, media, and especially the players. Now, this past week, Detroit Lions cornerback Darius Slay called the Pro Bowl pointless. Called it pointless. Since it's not in Hawaii anymore, right? It's moving to Orlando in 2017. Like, who says, if you're, have the money, who says, I want to go to Orlando rather than, or in Miami back when the Pro Bowl was in Miami? Who wants to go to Florida compared to Hawaii if you have the money, right? If money's not an object here, right? If you just got it all. I mean, a lot of us are going to pick Hawaii, right? And I get it. They got crazy spiders and stuff like that. But overall, who would rather go? Right? We're all picking Hawaii majority of the time. So he's saying it's pointless. I don't want to go to Orlando. I already play in Miami. I when the Lions go and travel to Miami or something like that, I've already played Dolphins before. Why do I want to make that a vacation? So he calls it pointless. And in recent years, the NFL Pro Bowl has become a laughingstock in professional sports, in all-star games, right? It's just not viewed as cool or fun or enjoyable, right? Everybody's saying we should cancel it. I'm totally against that. I love watching the Pro Bowl. And I'll admit that it has become a laughingstock. It's not that fun to watch like it was before. Because back in the old days, I loved it. I loved it back when I first got into football. I loved watching the Pro Bowl. Right? I used to record. I had a VHS. I'm not gonna lie. I put in my a blank VHS tape and I recorded that whole thing. I recorded the whole Pro Bowl and I would watch it over random times in the off season, and I speed it up on the commercials. I loved watching the Pro Bowl. It was fun to watch. AFC, NFC, I loved it. And I think that's what it needs to be. And I've talked about this on my show before, that the Pro Bowl needs to go back to the AFC, NFC versus NFC format, which I believe it is now, going back to that. And they need to put it back in Hawaii. Do the same things that we're now seeing on YouTube back in the old days, where they made it fun and enjoyable, and they had special skills competitions to get the fans and the players involved and players' families. That was fun. That's what made the Pro Bowl so great. We need to do that. The NFL's so concerned about having games in London and Mexico and just about everywhere else. What about Hawaii? What about our people in Hawaii? America, right? No, I'm just joking. But in all seriousness, the NFL Pro Bowl can be fun again. It can be one of the best professional sport all-star games again. Now, while it will never have the same implication as Major League Baseball now changed theirs about having the impact on who gets home court advantage and stuff, and it will never be played in the middle of the season or before the season, but it was always fun to watch, and it can be. And I'm shocked that a lot of people still didn't even like it before. They never liked it. They thought it was gimmicky. They thought it was dumb. I don't know why, but I personally, and I think a lot of people would agree with this, to see the best players go against each other in their respective conferences and battle it out. It's fun. And the players get, a reward out of it as well. They get to take their families. Now, maybe the voting system. Maybe we change the voting system where actually the best players really go. We still allow the fans to get their votes. Fans get a certain percentage of votes to make it interacting and fun for the fans. That's cool. I used to always do that, when I was, a kid. I don't really do that now. It's kind of weird. And then really at the end of the season, we look at it and say, all right, who had the best season at their respective positions and played very well, made an impact on our team? Who deserves to go? But also, let's put it 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks after after the NFL Super Bowl. Not a week before the Super Bowl, where some of the best players are actually going to the Super Bowl for a reason. They're some of the best players. And then they can't go. They got to give it up to a lesser player who not that fun to watch, right? Put it a couple weeks after, so that way they still get at least a week or two of rest after the Super Bowl, and allow everybody to rest up and then enjoy that vacation with their family. Have these skills competitions, have it fun, let fans get involved, let the players' families be involved, and make the NFL Pro Bowl great again. Make it fun again, because it can be and it should be. So, is it pointless right now? Probably. Should it be canceled? Absolutely not. There are ways to change this. If you're still not a fan of that, of the Pro Bowl, what it could be or what it once was, you just don't like football. I don't know who doesn't like the Pro Bowl. I don't know why you wouldn't. I think they're fun. Just a couple days after the Arizona Cardinals released wide receiver Michael Floyd, the New England Patriots said, hey, you'd like to come join us? Patriots claimed him. They picked him up. He's now with the New England Patriots. That'll be something. But he was arrested on charges of driving under the influence. Yeah, it's pretty scary. Apparently, he's found unconscious behind the wheel of a running Cadillac Escalade. He sat through at least 2 green light cycles with him passed out behind the wheel. The officers barricaded his SUV between their cars as they prepared to wake him up. The engine, of course, was running, and thankfully, Floyd's foot was on the brake. I mean, not only could he have killed himself, he could have killed someone else. So, this is kind of interesting. Apparently, this isn't the first time he's had some type of alcohol issue. He's definitely has an alcohol issue. He had 3 alcohol-related incidents with the law at Notre Dame, including a DUI in his final season. There's something. He needs some help. But Patriots said, hey, come play with us. Melvin Gordon's not expected to play Sunday against the Oakland Raiders. There is a chance that he plays this season again. He's 3 yards shy of his first 1,000-yard season after a terrible rookie year. So he wants to get it. Team and coaches and other guys are like, maybe it's not worth it. Adrian Peterson, he's back. He's off injured reserve. He's cleared. He's practicing. He might not play this week. But they are getting ready for him potentially returning against the Green Bay Packers on December 24th next week. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. AP. I'd be happy if he's back. That'd be great. That would be great. Now, there's been a little bit of rambling, people just going crazy. Media, of course, blowing it out of proportion as much as possible because, as media, we need stuff to talk about. We need to drag things on. We need to keep talking. Well, some of us just want to squash the beef and just move on and talk about something that's just different, right? That's me. But I got to bring this back up because it's being brought up, and it's just time to shut some people up about it. Dak Prescott, let's all agree, he is struggling past few weeks, right? He hasn't thrown over 200 yards, and Tony Romo never had consecutive games where he didn't throw over 200 yards. Tony Romo's great. Bring him back. No. Dallas Cowboys head coach Jason Garrett didn't make any promises about the rest of the season, but he made it clear that Dak Prescott will remain the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. As he should, because you've only lost 2 games the whole year. And just because he hasn't thrown over 200 yards, relax, people. Relax. It seems like if we just tell people to relax, everything ends up falling in motion and everything's fine, right? It's what Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers said, and guess what? They're back on a winning streak. They're back to doing the Packer things, right? People just need to relax. It's not like they got blown out by the Giants, right? They lost by 3 points, 10-7. And if you look at it, Dak, if you really watch the game, it wasn't all on him. Yeah, he did have that one bad interception where he just chunked it, and it was in double coverage. Cool. That first interception wasn't his fault. Dez Bryant slipped, and that's why I think there needs to be a different stat. Everybody loves stats. They like making new stats, new analytics. Can we put a different type of stat for interceptions on quarterbacks when it wasn't their fault? We saw it with Dak Prescott. We saw it with Russell Wilson, where when receivers just fail to do their job, whether catching a ball or slipping and falling, and then the ball gets picked off, that shouldn't be on the quarterback. That shouldn't be on the quarterback. That's not a bad throw. Interceptions are 90% of the time bad throws, right? And then the other percent is defense player made a great play, all the other good stuff. Some of those interceptions weren't his fault. Weren't Dak's. That first one wasn't his fault. And Dez really, if anybody wants to go after a Cowboys player, it was Dez. Dez played terrible. Cost 2 turnovers, right? So they lost 10-7 Sunday night against the Giants. You know, people were saying that Prescott's bad and Romo needs to step in now. Who are you, right? And do you understand, and I'm not giving excuses or anything for Dak Prescott, he is a rookie quarterback, right? He's a rookie quarterback in his first season. He's 11-2 right now. And you're giving him so much crap as if he's a 6-6 quarterback, a below average quarterback. Yeah, he struggled. 17 of 37, 165 yards, a touchdown, and really just 1 interception. He was sacked 3 times. Not a big deal. Sacked 3 times. As a Chargers fan, that would be a great day. You know, Phillip is on average about 6-7 times, right? The offensive line's garbage. Prescott has gone 3 straight games without passing for the famous 200 passing yards. He's also lost just 1 of those games. Shoot. Hey, if I'm a Cowboys fan, as long as we're getting the W, you could pass for 13 yards. I don't give a damn as long as we get the W. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. That's what wins. I don't care how much yards you pass. Who remembers how many yards Trent Dilfer passed when he won the Super Bowl? Not many of us, right? I doubt many Baltimore Ravens fans even know. Who cares? Get the W. Get the W. Dak is going to continue to learn and continue to get better. The media, of course, loves to string these things out, so that's why it gets a little frustrating. It gets a little annoying. I'm not even a Cowboys fan. I'm a Dak Prescott fan. I always have been. I liked him when he was at Mississippi State, mainly when he first was up for his junior year. That's when I became a fan of him. Now, with the past 2 games, however, Prescott, again, struggled. Cowboys beat the Minnesota Vikings 17-15. Prescott threw for 139 yards, 12 of 18. 12 of 18 is not bad. 139 yards apparently makes it worse, right? And apparently getting a W is still not good enough. Why is Cleveland right now? Cleveland will give you Josh McCown. McCown will go throw 200 yards. He won't get the W, but he'll throw for those 200 yards. If you're so concerned about your 200 yards, go ahead, make the trade. Hey, Browns would love a W at this point of the season. They would much rather have 17 of 37, 12 of 18, 139 yards, 165 yards. They would love that if that means they W. If that means a W, let's take them. You want 200 yards? Hey, go take McCown. Go take McCown. Are we seriously stressing over 200 yards? Oh, Romo never had that. Yeah, but Romo also hasn't really been healthy for several years since, 08? 09? It was the last time he actually played a complete season? Please. Kyle, please. Get out of here with that nonsense. In the past 2 games, now this is what it is kind of concerning, though, I'm not going to lie. Cowboys have converted just 2 of 24 third down opportunities. That is definitely an issue. That is definitely an issue. And both came apparently on runs, a scramble by Prescott against the Vikings and a run by Ezekiel Elliott. So, yes, let's address it. Offense has struggled, right? It has struggled the past few weeks. Everyone just needs to relax. The Giants had a really good game plan for the past 2 times against the Cowboys. Not just Dak, just Cowboys in general. They've had a really good game plan. They were outcoached. They were outplayed. While these rookies have been great, they're also, again, rookies. Their first year in the league. Both of these guys, Ezekiel and Dak. They're going to have good games. They're going to have bad games just like everybody else. So just relax. Just relax. Right now, Dak is struggling. He's going to get back get the Cowboys back and go. So remember the last time the Cowboys lost with Dak? Week 1. What'd they do after that? I think they won 11 straight games, right? Oh, that's right. They did. So, no, I'm not saying they're going to win 11 straight games from now, but they're going to be fine. They're going to win the NFC East. They're going to be in the playoffs. And then we can talk about from there. And we can talk about that. So that'll be fun to talk about. So, Cowboys fans, relax. Other fans who are just hating on Dak, there's nothing to do to change your mind, but just chill. Just chill. That's all. Last news before we do our predictions and wrap up the show. The NFL is making changes to Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Starting next season, NFL teams will be allowed to choose which type of cancer they wish to raise awareness in during October. Now, which has traditionally been, again, Breast Cancer Awareness Month for the NFL, for the league. They're changing it. Teams can continue to still support the breast cancer awareness if they wish, but they will be able to support other cancer causes as well, as long as the form of the disease is screenable and detectable. The NFL since 2009 has allowed players to wear pink accessories and feature the color on the fields and the sidelines, as we all have seen before. Now, while the NFL has raised almost $15 million for the American Cancer Society through its campaign, they're changing it up. Next year, the NFL's campaign will still be named A Crucial Catch, right? But there won't be a signature color. It won't just be pink. It just might be the NFL's normal colors that they're going to go with, the red, white, and blue, right? Now, the seeds for change were planted in 2014 through a letter to Commissioner Roger Goodell from the Houston Texans' Devon Steele, who suggested the month of October shouldn't be limited to breast cancer awareness for the NFL. This is what the Monday Morning Quarterback reported, which I'll put the link in the description down below. It's a pretty good article. Goodell told Steele about the league's planned change last fall, when Steele was among the players who visited the league's office to discuss My Cause, My Cleats, which has just happened, which was, I would say, a huge success. That was one of the smartest moves the NFL has made in recent years, which it's been struggling to make some smart moves. My Cause, My Cleats, huge success. And again, we talked about it last week on the show and I made a special video for it. This should be something that's happened maybe twice a season, early in the season, late in the season, because it's an incredible thing. It does an amazing thing. It allows the players to speak up and use their platform, which we all, express and love to talk about. This gives them a reason to do it and a way to do it. So, I don't mind this by the NFL doing this. I think it's so good. I think it's a good thing that they're doing. Again, they're not knocking on breast cancer awareness, not saying that it's not big enough or that it's, that whatever excuse you want to make for it. It's a really good thing that now all the different types of cancer awareness can now be provided. More organizations will now get money for it. Players, again, allowed to use their voice, their platform to reach out to more. So I like this by the NFL. I don't think a lot of people are going to disagree with that. I think a lot of people will like this idea. So, again, be sure to check out that Monday Morning Quarterback. Again, I'll put the link in the description down below and check it out. But NFL, another smart move. Let's fix the Pro Bowl like we talked about earlier in the show. Let's talk about that. All right. Follow me on Twitter at Short Sports. You'll become a fan on Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let's get to 1,500 subscribers before the end of the year. I believe we can make it happen. Christmas miracle, I believe it. Follow me on Twitter again and everything else. Everything else, I like that. I don't know how to close it. Let's wrap it up here. NFL Week 15, guys. Sadly, the season is almost over, and then we got to go back to hibernation and do all this stuff again. It's just tough. I remember when it was just week 1. Not that long ago. Felt like 14 weeks ago. First game, which, hey, we got a Saturday game. We have a Saturday game tomorrow. Dolphins and the Jets, yeah. We still get a really bad matchup. Dolphins and the Jets go at each other. 7:25 p.m. Central Time, NFL Network. Miami's a 2.5-point favorite. I'm taking the Dolphins here, actually to win big. So I'm taking the Dolphins all the way. On Sunday, we have the Titans versus the Chiefs. Now, the Titans, to keep their playoff hopes alive and get that wild card spot, which they have. They're now okay. Check this out. So Broncos 8-5, right? Titans 7-6. If they end up with the same record, Titans get in. Because remember last week, Titans beat the Broncos. They got the tiebreaker. They got the head-to-head matchup win. So Titans, they got to keep hope alive. They got to win. And this is a good test for the Titans. You're going against one of the better teams in the Kansas City Chiefs, arguably now one of the best AFC teams in the AFC because they knocked down the Raiders. They took down the Raiders. They're the number one seed in the not the number one seed, but the number one AFC West team. So this is a really good matchup. You're on the road, and apparently Marcus Mariota has never played in a really cold game because this game is going to be really cold. The high of 19 degrees Fahrenheit in Kansas City for this game, kickoff temperature. High of 19, ladies and gentlemen. So that'll be something. 12 p.m. kickoff on CBS. Kansas City is a 5.5-point favorite. I am going to take the Chiefs, but I do hope that the Tennessee Titans will get the W because I would like to see Titans get in the playoffs. Then we have the two teams, both 9-4, the Lions and the Giants going at it. This will be a really good matchup. I'm taking the Giants here. I'm taking the Giants to win this game. 12 p.m. Central Time on Fox. Giants are a 4-point favorite. Then what should be, a Monday night game or Sunday night game possibly, the 11-2 Patriots taking on the 8-5 Broncos, 3:25 p.m. on CBS. New England's a 3-point favorite. Taking the Patriots. Taking the Patriots on the road. Broncos kind of struggling. Put that lightly. Then finally, the Buccaneers, 8-5 Buccaneers, taking on the 11-2 Dallas Cowboys in Jerry's World, 7:30 p.m. Central Time on NBC. Dallas is a 7-point favorite. And just like I said earlier, relax, guys. Relax. I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys to win this game. It's going to be fine. That is it for today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, we will be back next Friday. The Short Sports Show is now on Fridays, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you so much for listening and tuning in. Subscribe on YouTube, The Short Sports Show. Become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. And guess what? Follow me on Twitter at, you guessed it, The Short Sports Show. Thank you guys so much. As always, God first, God bless, and I will see you guys next week. I'm out. Peace.